money to buy everyone Christmas presents. When we're pulling our all-nighters, rehearsing our skits, rehearsing our dances, our fashion shows, the last week before TED shows, we were just trying to get through the show and not embarrass VSA on stage. And of course, when Hot created his genius fall water recipe, and thank God there was no Yelp back then, we were just trying to make sure the hungry people got all their food. We were just kids having fun. We didn't know how important these events were to us until we became adults. All the TED show practices, all the pho fests, even all the shady kid businesses that we started were just getting us ready for poker. They were just getting us ready for chasing tails. And they were just getting us ready for role play. And don't worry, guys, I promise you that Hot doesn't make our pho a role play. Okay? I talked to Queenie this week, and he told me that this week is really stressful, or this next week is really stressful for all of you guys. Not only because it's TED show coming up, but also because it's midterm week. So, of course, for most of you guys, the midterms will come first in line. Studying for those midterms will teach you the topics on the test. You're going to know more about stuff like cellular respiration, photosynthesis. You might learn how to calculate air pressure in a tube, or how to balance some equations or reactions in orgo. You may even know more about the history of American deaf community. Right, Queenie? But while you're busy studying, do not take for granted the lessons that rehearsing for the VSA TED show will teach you. For us, these lessons were much more meaningful. So thank you again, everyone, for the sick invite, and thanks for all your pity laughs, too. We had so much fun, but in a few minutes, we'll be finished. And in 5 or 10 years, you guys will be out of those chairs, and you guys will be standing up here. You will have your own even better versions of Chasing Tails, or role plays, or whatever it may be. If all of you guys leave this room, and you forget about everything we've said today, remember this. Well, even if you forget about every example we shared, even if you forgot about every story Hak and O talked about, remember these 3 things. Remember to surround yourself with great teammates. Remember to take smart shots. And remember to have a growth mindset always. We promise, that your journey will be much more rewarding and much less risky. So enjoy the ride. Roleplay or for Falls Church, Arlington was our first location. No, but why did you choose your first location? We actually looked at a lot of locations, to be honest, but back then we had no restaurant experience, so it was very hard for us to get into a location because landlords really want they hate it when restaurants come in there and then they fail after like 6 months or something, because it makes it look like the property is bad and no one else will rent it, if that makes sense. So it was very hard for us to get a spot, so we just honestly just chose the first spot that would take us in Falls Church, and that happened to be it. Well, we knew we wanted to be away from Eden, though, because we're afraid of all the bad stuff you hear about, like shootings. So we were like a few minutes away from Eden, but we also wanted to attract the Vietnamese crowd, some of them that go to Eden, too, because Vietnamese people love seafood. So that's that, and then the fact that we didn't have that much choice got us our first location. Thanks. Yes.
Do you regret not taking more like econ or business classes here at UVA?
Honestly, you guys, anyone?
You know what I do? I took a bunch of mech classes because I was trying to get a mechanical engineering degree because I thought I was going to be an engineer. But I mean, I think economics and like other classes that are like pretty interesting, like psychology, I would have really enjoyed, but I was too busy like playing cards and doing other stupid stuff. But yeah, I do. I think you guys should definitely take classes that you do enjoy, at least 1 or 2 of them for sure.
In terms of the business aspect of it, though, I did take a few econ classes, and I think what we learned outside of school, like Zio was saying, at VSA and doing a whole bunch of team events and stuff like that, was a lot more valuable than any econ class or business class that I took. So Sometimes it's like the school of hard knocks that you need to go through to really learn.
Could you go back to that slide? Whereas I think there's a shot of you on like a gambling show.
Oh, you're talking about
Oh wait, we have a video we can show.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can you
watch
guys
it.
like just explain and elaborate like what that is?
Okay. Yeah, we can show the video.
Oh, that's me losing. That's me taking a good shot and losing.
Sorry. Let's see where we have it right here. I can fill Ivy.
You should I give a preface or whatever?
Yeah, you can.
So this is are you guys familiar with the main event in Las Vegas? Some of you guys might be. So on ESPN, if you ever like flip through the channels and you see like poker on ESPN, it's usually the main event. That's the most popular event. It's a $10,000 buy-in, and usually they have about between, I think it's gotten up to like, sometimes it goes up to like the most popular years, maybe close to 10,000 people that pay $10,000 to play in this event, and they split the prize pool. But I think these years is probably closer to 5,000 to 7,000 people that come every year. It's once a year, and it's the biggest tournament of the year. It's kind of like the Super Bowl of poker. So anyways, one year I got really lucky, and I out of like the 7,000 people, I actually made it pretty deep, and I was like I made it into the top 100. Once you get really deep, then you get on TV a good amount. But you know, obviously, like it's a little bit of skill, but a lot of it is luck as well. So anyways, this is a clip of me playing against Phil Ivey. Phil Ivey's, people consider him probably like the Michael Jordan or the Tiger Woods of poker. So it was like really intimidating. I was like a 23-year-old kid, like, you know, playing against, you know, one of my idols. And I guess we can watch the clip and see what happens.
All right, let's get over to table 2, where 7-time bracelet winner Phil Ivey is at work with pocket jacks. Ivey just re-raised Hack Dang. Bell and Pat Humphries usually see Phil get his chips in good, but he's trailing the 2 queens of Dang.
Dang, a 24-year-old pro, University of Virginia grad.
And he comes back over the top, all in.
3 on 1. What is it? Actually, it's 416 more. I'll call.
He calls with the jacks. And Dang in good shape to double up through Ivey.
I don't like this, Lon. You had me in such a good mood earlier with the ace of spades, but now you got me watching Phil Ivey dominate.
Playing pocket jacks. All right, so Dang's queens. And now a set of jacks for Ivey to take the lead.
Oh, you gotta feel for Dang. Let's step out the door.
Queen!
Wow. So Dang now looking for another queen, but it's a 5 on the turn.
And now Dang needs that queen, or he will be out of here.
The river card is a 7. He completes the back beat.
So if you notice in the clip, it tells you the percentages that you're ahead or behind. But in poker, it's a game of skill, but also a game of chance. So even if you get your money in good, you can still lose. But the beauty of it is nobody will play poker if the best player always won. If that makes any sense. So there has to be like a little bit of basically, like a poker game will never exist if you knew exactly what your skill level was, because nobody that's worse would ever play anybody else. But because it's a game of chance, then people, you know, think they're better than they actually are, and then it leads to situations where you can make a whole lot of money as a college student playing poker.
So when you were on your poker venture, did any of you ever get beaten so badly that you just wanted to quit, but it still kept going?
Yes, so many times it has happened actually. With poker, it's a very stressful job. So like Hack said, even though we're supposed to win in the long run, in the short term you don't win. Maybe a great player, the best player in the world might win 55% of their sessions, and then the other 45% they'll lose. And then the times when you lose a lot too. Like, I mean, I know me and Hack has days where we lose like hundreds of thousands in one day. Like we wake up, play for like 10 minutes and just lose 100,000 or something like that. And then like that'll really mess up your day. So like, you can't really recover from that, you know what I'm saying? So what happens is like a few of those, like they add up, and then when it happens like over and over again for like weeks, I mean, it's possible. Like sometimes the luck of the draw would just have it that you keep losing for a few weeks, even a few months at a time. So that makes it really stressful, and it makes it hard. And now that we're like really old, it's much harder to get over the the stress of it as much. So there are days, but there were days a lot, but I mean, now it's like a little bit more taxing, so we went into another business that's slightly less of a gamble, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that would ruin your day a little bit.
Are you hoping that Queen will join into family business?
Oh, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, Guyen is a very special person, as I'm sure you all agree. For sure. Like, we have so much fun working together. Sometimes we do argue, though, and that's I guess, necessary or that's expected. But at the end of the day, we all know that we're all here for the common goal, just like what we were talking about in that first slide. Like, and if we all share the same like values, then that leads to success. So of course, Guyen, join us, please.
Okay, no pressure.
What are your favorite memories with that show?
That's a good question. All right, so one time, well, I mean, I don't know what these guys' favorite was. One time, me and Z were in charge of the skit, and the year previous to that, the skit was just like, it was just really bad. And so we were like, yo, we're gonna make this skit awesome. But the way that we work best is we do things like kind of last minute. Like this whole presentation we put together, I was like putting my thoughts together on paper on the ride down from Nova. And I was like literally getting nauseous in the car because I can't type while in a car and things like that. But anyways, the same thing happened with the skit. It was like the last, so basically I think we had that show at Burley. I think you guys are doing the same place. Yeah. Well, we had just upgraded to Burley. It was new when I was around, because we used to do it at the SAB, the student activities building across from Courtney or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at Courtney. That was like kind of far out. But anyway, so we were in charge of the skit, but we were doing the voiceover thing, like Z said, and so nobody like remembered any of their lines, and we were responsible for burning everything onto a CD and bringing it in and to give it to the sound person and having them have the actual voices so they can play during the skit. Basically, it was like the very last minute. The show was starting at 2 o'clock, and I was in my apartment at maybe 1:55, like trying to figure out how to get my CD burner to work. And it was just like very, very stressful. But eventually, I got it to work. We had to start the show a little bit late, but I think that one was, because we're cutting it so close, that one was the one I remember the most. That was my favorite moment. It worked.
Yeah. For me, I never was a dancer or anything like that. But for my 4th year, everybody convinced me to do the 4th year dance. And I swear, I was so uncoordinated in the beginning, but it was so much fun. I mean, oh man, I can still remember the routine. Every now and then in the bathroom. I can't do it now. Too many people. Oh man. But yeah, every now and then. Yeah, it was just so cool because you work with people that you enjoy working with to all come together and just be this ensemble. And I never thought I could have done that, but it was really cool too because I guess the coordinator or the choreographer, they put me in the front right, and I was like the worst in the beginning, and then I got to be in the front, which was kind of cool. So that was my favorite moment.
Yeah, I guess I have a lot of favorite moments, but I was watching through the YouTube videos of the TED shows when we were around, because we thought about bringing a few videos to show you guys how far you guys have come with TED show. Then it's like 12 years ago, 2004, 2003, and to now when you guys don't have any voiceovers anymore. And I was just, a lot of times I watch it and I still get chills from, I remember how good it feels just to see, I mean, obviously looking back on it now, it was still a crappy show, you know what I'm saying? But watching it and then knowing all the work that went through behind the scenes, all the bonding and stuff like that.